Looking up data from a database when printing spool file forms. So here I have JMagic. I've got a form that's been designed already from a spool file. It prints data from a held spool file. If we just jump into one of these text fields, we can actually browse out and see the spool file information that's already been mapped. All the orange is text fields. You got an address info up there. There's your detail. There's some total information down there. This is a real simple one here. But you know, the boss, he came to you and said, hey, we need to print the email on these. We need some extra
No, well,
information
call
on this.
programmer. Call the programmer. That's the only way you can get an email address in the spool file is call
Yeah,
programmer.
get a programmer to what? Change
Yeah.
the spool file,
Yeah, in a
put the data into the
couple
spool
of
file.
weeks it'll be done. I'm sure programmers have better things to do than to add data to a spool file, but you know, in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks you'll have it done.
No
Is there,
thanks.
okay, all right.
Let's use MarkMagic for that. So a great thing here is we have some information in the spool file already, the customer number, and you can see it up there in the top right. We got a 10050, for example, on this first page, and we're printing it already. Back out of here. We're already printing it here using a data field. So that data field's mapped to the spool file just like you're used to. A great thing though is we've got on our server, we've got our main customer database, and it is ordered by customer number, it's keyed, the database key field. You can see for that first page, for example, 10050 customer, we can actually take that data from the spool file, tell MarkMagic, hey, by the way, you know, this information is also accessible in a database out there. And I'll show you the options in JMagic there, how to trigger all of that. But just to show you, in this database, there are a bunch of other pieces of information that weren't in the spool file that we can now grab. So if we go all the way over, there's email. So there is an email address in this database. So we're going to pull in that email address from the physical file using that bit of data that's already in the spool file. So here's that data field, CS key. If we double click it, there's a few things that you have to have set properly. First of all, the field name. Field name when you're doing spool file forms, it isn't super important for just regular pulling in data from a spool file, but when you want to use this data field as a key, you have to make sure the field name matches the field name in your database. So CS key is the name of the field in that database, that customer master. The length and decimals, that must also match, so we have a 5-position numeric field here. And then usage, KA, that's the most important part. This is form composer right here, this usage, KA, that turns on the whole triggering. So MarkMagic sees that and says, oh, this data field, this is a special data field here. And if we look on the settings panel here, this is what Chuck likes to call hybrid fields.
Exactly.
So,
it's doing two things at once. It's taking spool file data and database file data. It's like the glue that brings it all together. Yep.
So this field, it's pulling data from the spool file from line 2, column 68, like it always has been for all these years. But now you're telling it, hey, you're also in database, EXCUST physical file 2, PF2, in librarium of examples, and you're a key in that file. So this field here is set up properly now to pull data from a spool file and go out to that database. So this field's set up properly now, and now all we need to do, super simple, just add more data fields, create a new data field, and we just simply browse out to not the spool file now. Remember, that data is not in the spool file, it's in a database now, so we can browse out to the database.
It's a brand new information we want to put on here. We want to print on this form that's not in the spool file.
So we can browse to the database now. We can pick any one of these fields. You can pick one from the middle, one from the beginning, doesn't matter, the order. There's the email, so I'll pick the email, click OK, click OK. It brought in the field name, length, set all that up for me, put in the file there for me, everything's fine. And we just hit OK. We've got a new data field on the format now, like you guys are used to with using data fields and star link. In order to print it, we need to create a new text field,
Yep.
star link.
So add it, yeah, he's just going to add it as a text field. He's going to link to that data field. And you'll notice Ken throughout the presentation is going to be using the preview function within JMagic, which is, we'll call that a little bonus. Some of you folks probably didn't know you could do that either, but you can actually preview spool file data, live spool file data, database file data right within the JMagic canvas and see exactly how it's going to look with your real data before you even print or PDF a single format.
Yep, so I've just added the text field. I linked it to that new data field that is from the database. And, just to prove you again, if we look at settings, 00 for spool file, it's not pulling any data from spool file. So we do a preview from a spool file, all pages. Look at that, khunter@cybra.com, that email address from the database got pulled in because customer 10050, and we just toggle on through. Let me bring this guy down for you. We go next, page 2 of the spool file. There's Aaron. Kennedy, CYBRA.com comes in. And next, Greg.
Mr. Coletto, yeah, got them all. So this is all information, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be an email address, and you can even chain out to other database files within your system. Maybe you wanted a PO number or something like that. It could be chained from another field, That's all fair game without any programming whatsoever.
Oh yeah, chain off of a chain, and from another base to another. This is just one little easy, quick lookup, but yeah, it gets real fun.